EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. Give me a follow on X at Real Zander. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen, the number one Eagles beat reporter in town. Give him a follow on X at JF McMullen. Johnny Mac, a lot to talk about today. 4 scheduled games already out for the Philadelphia Eagles as we wait for the much-awaited full release tomorrow night. Some NBA stuff I want to run by you with the lottery. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Tuesday morning, brother?
I'm doing well. Trying to get an Eagles game on a Sunday.
I know.
Can we get that? NFL? Maybe one Sunday? Throw it in there. Throw it in the mix. Boy.
John, we are getting that Super Bowl winning treatment right now. They've released 4 games for the Eagles already. There's no other team that has anywhere close to that many games released. So they're clearly catering to the Eagles a little bit here. I joked about your tweet about the Eagles are disrespected crowd. I know you have.
Oh man, you people got to take the year off, man. You're so off base now. You gotta tap out and come back. They'll be back next week when they ban pushing in the NFL. This league does not disrespect the Philadelphia Eagles. It's the exact opposite. The exact opposite. Polar opposite.
No doubt. And our boy Jason A-Team is certainly not disrespecting us with a $50 super chat to start the show. A-Team, thank you, brother. We appreciate it. We'll run down all the games. By the way, there's 4 games. So we mentioned that 4 games so far released for the Eagles. John joked there's not one Sunday yet. We got a Saturday, a Friday, a Thursday, and a Monday. All right. So no Sunday game yet for the Eagles. We'll get the full schedule tomorrow night. Let's read Jason A-Team checking in here. He says, let's start this day off with a bang. Eagles Cowboys first game of the year. And our Sixers got the 3rd overall pick. We're actually going to get a decent player for this horrible tank job this past season. Starting with the Cowboys, can't beat it. Yeah, I thought Eagles got some options, or the Sixers, got some options there at that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow the NBA draft like I once did, but I do know there's 2 Rutgers kids that are supposed to go 2-3.
Yeah, Ace Bailey's who I think we'll end up with. He's a really good player.
Yeah, I that harkens me back to the Ben Simmons days, and like you got 2 players like that are going 2-3 in the NBA draft, and you're not more successful. What is going on at Rutgers basketball?
Right.
That concerns me a little bit. Look, I'm used to the Sixers, screwing things up, so I sort of default to they're going to screw it up. I don't know how, but they're going to screw it up.
Yeah, we'll talk about the lottery in a little bit. I want to get to these games first. John, I'm sure, has some thoughts on the lottery. We'll talk about that a little bit. That was an interesting thing for those who follow the NBA. All right, so here's the 4 games for everybody wondering. Yesterday, we talked about the Eagles Cowboys. That's the opener. That's week 1. That's Thursday night football on September 4th under the lights in Philly. Obviously, banner dropped the whole 9 yards. Then you have Week 10, which came out this morning. Week 10 is a Monday night game. It's Eagles at Packers in Lambeau. That's November 10th, and that'll be Monday night football. So 2 night games to start. And then also what came out yesterday was a division game, Week 16, Saturday versus the Commanders.
Conference game. First is Black Friday.
Well, yeah, I was just doing them in order.
I'm sorry.
I didn't do them in order. I'll give them in order when I'm done. Saturday versus the Commanders is a division game. That's December 20th. So the Saturday before Christmas, maybe setting up the Eagles to play on Christmas. We'll see. Saturday. And then you have Black Friday, as John mentioned, conference game versus the Bears. Week 13, November 28th. That's Friday. So again, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, and a Monday. We have yet to get a Sunday game, but those are your 4 games. So week 1, Eagles Cowboys. Week 10, Eagles at Packers. Week 13, Black Friday versus the Bears on Friday, November 28th. And then week 16, Saturday, Eagles versus Commanders, December 20th. Those are your 4 games so far, Johnny Mac.
Yeah, yeah, from a football standpoint, I think that December 20th game at Washington could be a big one, if everything goes as we think it's going to go.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe you'd like the home and home to be early there and late here, but it's not gonna work out that way. December 20th down in whatever they call FedEx Field. They don't call it FedEx Field anymore. I don't know why anybody would want to put their name on it, but I apologize for
Well,
that.
they got a big new one coming soon, don't they?
They're going to be set up because Josh Harris cares about that organization. But so that potentially could be a really big game. A lot of speculation because of what happened last year. What Christmas on Wednesday, so they had the Saturday teams. They had 4 teams that played on Saturday, and then they played on Christmas. So the Eagles are set to play, the Saturday before Christmas, as we just mentioned, with Washington. So there was a lot of speculation that it would be Eagles at Packers on Christmas Day, which would be worse because you're talking about December in Green Bay, which could be really bad from a cold standpoint. Whereas November 10th, where you got to go to Green Bay, it still might be brutal. You never know with northern Wisconsin, but better chance to have at least a half decent day
Yeah.
from the standpoint. So I think that's a positive. Still a chance they might play on Christmas because everybody wants your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Everybody wants your Philadelphia. Yeah. So the disrespect, take the year off.
Yeah, no doubt.
you're
The only
swimming up.
game that is the only game so far that is away is Eagles Packers that we know. All the other 3 games are home. I see my boy Wayne asking, is the Bears in Chicago or Philly? That game is
That's
in
here.
Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's in Philly on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So we'll see about that. And then obviously the Christmas game, the reason that we're speculating they play on Christmas is it's a Saturday. Christmas is a Thursday this year, I
Thursday.
believe.
So they have more, they have
Yeah,
a
they give them
Thursday
that
game
extra
there.
day. Yeah.
They have a little bit more wiggle room. So that's why I speculated that yesterday, but it wasn't by any stretch 100%. But if they carried it over, but that extra day means a lot because they talked themselves into Thursday being normal,
Right.
even though it isn't. So but Eagles are the Eagles, and they might get Christmas Day anyway. So just because it's not against the Packers doesn't mean they won't play on Christmas.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. Again, full schedule release is tomorrow night. At this rate, we're going to have the whole schedule for the Eagles before that even gets here. We already got 4 of the games. So that's the rundown on that. We'll give you guys an update on all the other things as well. Yesterday, John, and we'll go through each game. I just want to get through the news this morning here at the start of the show. Eagles signed Drew Kendall. So, John, where are they at on the rookies? They had 10 rookies.
They got 6 of them
signed.
signed. But nothing to worry about, obviously.
Nothing to worry about, but just
deal.
giving the update. Yeah. Is Jihad Campbell signed yet? No, right?
No. The top guys, Jihad, Andrew Makuba, Ty Robinson, and I believe Cameron Williams is the one holdout from the day 3 guys.
And
not that he's holding out, by the way. I shouldn't have said that word.
Yeah, it just hasn't come to the day.
Hasn't happened.
Just for clarity, John, because I was wondering this as well, because I saw with Shamar Stewart in Cincinnati, he didn't do their rookie camp because he hadn't signed the contract yet. What does hold these up? I know it's not something to worry about, but I thought it was all basically legislated by the CBA. What is going on? Like, what does get in the way? Is it little things? Is it injury things? Like, what gets in the way of maybe stopping someone or slowing the contract?
Well, in the case of the Bengals, and I don't know, the Bengals have a history of, being the Bengals.
I know.
Everybody gets an injury waiver basically to participate in rookie camp. If they haven't signed, a lot of guys signed. The Eagles signed for that day before they got on the field. So didn't matter for them. But the 6 guys who hadn't signed at that point all signed waivers. Jihad Campbell obviously is injured anyway, so it didn't affect him. But say somebody like Andrew Makuba, so he's there's no risk from his standpoint. And that's what, so when that happened with Shamar Stewart, and I think it happened with somebody else on the Bengals as well, a lot of people raised their eyes and like, what are you doing, dude? Because it's just, business as usual around the NFL. A lot of guys aren't signed that quickly, and they all participate. Evidently, and again, I haven't confirmed this, evidently there might be some differences in Cincinnati, and they don't have the same wording that puts some more risk on the player's standpoint if something horrible happens.
Right.
So everybody jumped down his throat. There may be more to that story.
Yeah, we got people jumping down his throat right now in the chat. I don't know. I said to somebody who said that to me, I'm like, it's the Bengals. let's give him a little bit more leeway.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should give him a little bit more leeway. There's something else going on. So ultimately it won't matter. I mean, there are a few little pockets in the draft, second round, the receiver from Iowa State,
Jalen Lane.
No, not Lane.
There was two of them, I think, from Iowa State.
The one who's like the third pick in the second round. I'm looking it up real quick.
Houston drafted both of them, right?
Yeah, he was the let's see, 32 was Jaden Higgins. So gotcha. So he was the second pick. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, gotcha.
He was the second pick in the second round behind Carson Schlesinger from Cleveland. Ironically, by the way, other Jeremiah Owasu Koromoa, who's a very good player. He's not going to play this season, so he's going to get on the field right away. A lot of bad news in Cleveland, but I digress. Jaden Higgins got the first fully guaranteed contract for a second-round pick. Well, that means Schlesinger at 33 is going to ask for a fully guaranteed contract. Probably means Nick Emenwari at 35 is going to ask for a fully guaranteed contract. So agents are trying to push that down the board as much as possible to get fully guaranteed deals. All the first round picks are fully guaranteed now, the first 4 years, basically. And they're going to, they keep trying to push it, and they got it into the second round with Higgins for the first time. So that's a little bit that can be a hang up. Then there's offset language. Some of the cheaper teams are very, like Cincinnati, are very hung up on offset language. That basically means if you get cut, and you get signed by another team, which is usually going to be the case, your original team only has to pay the difference between the new salary and the old salary. Versus the whole thing, and the player can't double dip, which they can if there's no offset language. So that factors into it. And then the only other contention point is the signing bonus timing. Like a lot of teams, cheaper teams, want to spread that out. So you might get some when you put pen to paper. You might get some later in the summer. You might get some during the season. They try to space it out, and that creates a few issues. But there are no old school holdouts because everything's collectively bargained from a standpoint of slot and how much you're set to make.
Right.
So those little things can cause a couple ripples, but it's never a big long-term thing.
Yeah, it's all legalese. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Eagles have 6 of 10. You heard Johnny Mac say that 6 of 10 draft picks under contract, and I assume the other ones will be coming shortly. So we'll be following along. We'll give you guys the update on that. Last piece of news I want to hit on in this opening segment here is I saw John Clarkjob put this out. Howie Roseman got presented with another award yesterday.
Most valuable Philadelphian.
Most valuable Philadelphia. There you go. From the
Philadelphia. I think Howie's from Brooklyn, by the way, but whatever. Yeah.
Well, I know he's not from here. Yeah, he didn't grow up here.
Most valuable Philadelphian. Yeah. from the Philadelphia Visitor Center Corporation.
I think that's a fair award for him, John. He made a great football team, and as you know from being around this city, this is a different city when this team wins and is successful. And it was a great year in Philly because of that. So I like the award for Howie.
Yeah, I gotta believe congratulations to Howie. You got a little key.
It's not that big of a deal, everybody.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I saw it and I'm like, let me tell people about
I gotta believe, and I don't know, but I gotta believe there's more important things in Philadelphia that are more. But it's such a horribly run city. Maybe he deserves it.
Well,
maybe none of the people. Maybe the people who are doing the real work don't deserve it. So maybe he does deserve it. But I got to believe there's more.
I agree with this. I mean, yesterday I mentioned football's inconsequential. It is, but listen, in Philly, it's not. All right. So Howie got it. Good stuff there on that front. John, one thing that happened over the weekend that I feel I apologize for not mentioning on Monday's show, everybody. But Derek Carr retired over the weekend. I thought that was interesting. I know he's got that bad injury, but Derek Carr officially hangs him up in New Orleans.
My buddy Kellen Moore, man. He might have inherited the worst quarterback room in NFL history now with no Derek Carr.
I think Tyler Shuck's going to start day one. Unless they trade for Tanner McKee.
Boy, they might trade for Jameis Winston. They might They might get in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. I think Tanner's like plan C or D, but they might make a call. But they already have a bunch of young guys: Spencer Rattler, Jake Hayner, whatever his name is, and then Tyler Shuck. I think they'd be looking for more of a bridge quarterback. Not in the case of Rodgers, that would be a home run for them, even a 40, whatever. But Jameis Winston type. Now that the Giants, have Russell Wilson and drafted Jackson Dart. I mean, do they really need Jameis Winston? He can go back to New Orleans, has a history there. That would make some sense to me. They need some kind of veteran presence.
I could see that as well. So Derek Carr officially hangs him up. Tyler Shuck is penciled in right now. We'll see if the Saints make a move with Kellen Moore. But John, is Derek Carr sneaky underrated from a macro perspective? I mean, this guy's got 41,000 passing yards in his career, John.
Yeah,
very good passing yards, man. 257 touchdowns, 112 picks, and 92.8 rating in his career. I mean, that's pretty dang good.
Well, yeah, but he didn't have the team success. So quarterback's world, man. Yeah, he's got some. The vast majority of his career obviously spent with the Raiders, who are one of the disaster organizations, and that there were a couple times where he did have, representative teams, and they performed well. He had one season in Oakland, one season in Vegas where he was phenomenal. Very, very underrated quarterback, I would say. If he had better supporting cast, you'd think more highly of him. That's how it works, though, with quarterbacks. So they get too much credit when things go well and too much blame. Everybody knows it's part of the job.
All right.
Part of the job.
Was it last year that they were like the best team in football for 2 weeks, or was that 2 years ago?
No, that was last year.
That was last year.
That was last year. But, then the center got hurt against the Eagles. He's a really good player, Eric McCoy. And he got hurt, obviously, later in the season. And then they were just off the table. But even last year, he had a solid year when he did play. He's just a good quarterback. Not great, just a really good professional quarterback, I would describe him as.
Good stuff there. So Derek Carr hangs him up. We'll see what Kellen Moore does, or if maybe Tanner McKee becomes an option. I don't think he would. John already mentioned they got a lot of young guys with no experience. So I agree. I think they'd go the more experienced route. But we will see on that. John, we did open up on all the football. We're going to get into each of the 4 games. We'll keep you updated, too, if anything else comes out on those games. But before we do that, I did want to talk about the NBA lottery real quick, just because it's it's May here, and I want to talk about some of the other sports in the world, some of the other happenings in the sports world. We'll start with Jason Tatum, John. Did you see that injury? Knicks go up games 3-1.
That's sad. It looks like really
Achilles,
serious injury.
Yeah.
Really good player. The Celtics have been brutal in that series, though, man. They did. They deserve to lose, but yeah, you never want to see somebody get hurt like that. In a very good player, obviously. Sixer fans can dream about it, what it would have been like if they got him instead of Markelle Fultz, getting back to the draft lottery. But yeah, I mean, a difficult situation. Obviously, the Knicks are going to move on, just a matter of when, with no Jason Tatum. But and Jalen Brunson has turned in Villanova guys, so Philadelphia. He's turned into the best closer in basketball. I mean, when it's a close game, the Knicks are winning because they have the best closer.
It's incredible how good Jalen Brunson is becoming. Plus, they got the Pope on their side this year, brother. They might march their way to an NBA title this year.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the Pope because he's a Nova guy, but he's a Chicago guy. So I've heard he's a Bears fan, he's an Eagles fan. Obviously, went to Nova, so he is a Nova.
That's fake news. No Eagles.
He is a Nova. He is a Nova fan, so we do know that. But there's only 2 Nova guys, I think. There used to be more.
No, I thought it was Hart, Brunson. Do they have DiVincenzo too?
No, he's on Minnesota now. So it might be Minnesota won. So I think they're up 3-1. I could be wrong, but I think they're up 3-1 in the West. And they have DiVincenzo and Julius Randle. The Knicks made a big trade. They got Karl Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves. So that could be an interesting finals.
Oh, is it Bridges? Is that the other Nova guy they got?
Bridges, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's another guy the Sixers could have.
Yeah. They had him and got rid of him. For who? What was the guy's name that they traded him for? Good. I don't even remember the guy's name.
Yeah, I don't remember. They are, for all the conspiracy lottery people, and there's a lot of them. If anybody deserves a rigged lottery, it's the Sixers, but they won't rig it for them. Boy, they can't get out of their own way. They can't. It's a shame. That, by the way, was my favorite team growing up, the Philadelphia 76ers, for all what McMullen's a fan of this, that. I'm a fan of the Yankees now because that's the only sport I don't cover. So I feel I can be a fan.
Right.
And I was a huge fan of the Julius Erving Sixers. And this ain't my Sixers. I will say that, the way this organization is run.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad because growing up, they were my favorite team too. I was a big basketball fan, and I love basketball, so I still do. But the Sixers have made it pretty tough to watch in the last couple of years, so last decade really. So good stuff there, John. Last thing on the NBA is the lottery. Sixers get number 3, the Mavericks get number 1 with a 1.8% chance. Yes, the conspiracy nuts are out and about, John, and I gotta be honest, I can't blame them on this one. What do you think about the lottery going to the Mavericks and the Sixers get 3, which is pretty good for them?
Yeah, Zaire Smith is who they traded.
There you go. I knew it. I knew it was a name like that.
I had it again. Who, by the way, another one. They've had all these. Zaire Smith was another guy with a weird, what was it, an allergy that almost killed him. Was he that guy?
Maybe, man. I don't remember. I just remember he could barely get on the floor.
Yeah. He had an allergic reaction to ingesting sesame and almost died from it. You can't make up the Sixers' bad luck. Not that he was going to be, I don't know if he's going to be any kind of player, but.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. But still crazy.
Yeah, the conspiracy bit. No, I like I said to you before we came on the air, I find it hard. Now, you can just look at, there's far larger things that the conspiracy people have proven to be right. And so I'm not saying it's not possible and there are conspiracies, but, the conspiracy need to start with the end game. Like, what's the end game? Like, it doesn't make any sense. The whole thought process, they're trying to get Luka with LeBron because they want to, I don't know, pick up TV ratings or, they want the Lakers to go far. And then all of a sudden I got the same people saying, whoever drafts Cooper Flagg, he's the Caitlin Clark of basketball, and the value of that franchise is going to go up. I read this yesterday. The value of that franchise, whatever it is going to go up $500 million. Now that's Howie too, but the point is, this is a big time kid. So if you really wanted to get anybody to Los Angeles or New York or whomever, the conspiracy, this is the kid. You want him there for 10, 15 years. You don't want to go, oh, let's give him Luka, who's a very good player, but he's not transcendent like a Caitlin Clark is to women's basketball. So if that's the case, he's the guy you would want to put in the situation that people are claiming they wanted to put Luke in. So it makes no sense from that standpoint. And when something doesn't make sense, sometimes people get lucky, and I think people got lucky. Nobody wants Cooper Flagg in Dallas. It's not the Cowboys. The Mavericks are not the Cowboys. The Mavericks are okay, a good team, when Mark Cuban was running things at times, but they're not the Lakers. They're not the Celtics. They're not the Bulls. They're not even the Sixers, although the Sixers are so far away from their glory days. They're not one of the high-profile organizations. So it doesn't make sense at its core, other than luck. People don't believe in luck, but luck exists. Sometimes you get lucky. And as the Sixers know, sometimes you get very, 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 very unlucky. Because they keep, years over years after year, they make the bad decision. It's unbelievable. Different people.
What, here's, and I don't disagree with you about the other side of it. It certainly did favor one side when you traded Luka to the Lakers, but you got LeBron James, John, tweeting laughing emojis after going on McAfee a couple weeks ago and saying, yeah, when they picked Cleveland for me, and when they picked, I forget the other ones.
He's playing into it, when they pick Cleveland.
And then he puts out laughing emojis last night. So I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying, but the conspiracy people are being gassed up by the biggest NBA player in the world.
Yeah.
So it's getting bigger for sure.
They get gassed up by everybody. I mean, what started it all was Patrick Ewing in the ding card.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Knicks never won a goddamn thing. By the way, on top of it, they had some good playoff runs, but they haven't won in 50 years since Willis Reed. They're not doing a good job of imparting, but yeah, it's become a part of the cultural lexicon. Oh, the lottery. Oh, they're going to. So it's part of it. And everybody plays into it. I get it. And when something less than 2% happens, I get when people go, oh, that's bullshit. But why would you want Cooper Flagg in Dallas?
I don't know.
If he's the Caitlin Clark of men's basketball, and he's just
consolation prize.
And by the way, that ain't the consolation prize. That's the grand prize.
Yeah, but how long is it going to take until he's ready to compete?
Well, first of all, I say this all tongue in cheek. I don't think any way he's going to become this transitional figure in men's basketball like Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
These are the same people. Like I said, I read that yesterday, that this kid is going to increase the valuation of whatever team he goes to from $500 million to $1 billion. One kid, which I think is complete bullshit. But you got the same people saying that and saying he's the consolation prize. No, he's the grand prize, if that's the case. And if that's the case, the NBA wants him with the Lakers or the Celtics or the Bulls or the Knicks. I won't even put the Sixers in it because they've destroyed themselves.
Yeah, but you got LeBron at the end of his career, so you get him Luka. Luka's a little bit more ready to win now, obviously. But I hear you. Listen, I don't disagree with you at all. I'm just saying that the narratives are out there, and Whatever you say, John, isn't going to put him to bed because people.
Oh,
I
know, but I get a kick out of like he's the consolation prize. No, he's the grand prize from
for long term, right? I mean, I don't know about right now for the Lakers with LeBron.
LeBron's 40 years old. I mean,
how old's Luka? Like 26?
Yeah, he's not old, but he's a very good player too. But he's not, the top 10 player of the world, obviously. But he's not a needle mover like, he's not a needle mover from the business standpoint of it. It's just a really good player. And, the assumption that, oh, they wanted the Lakers to win and this and that.
I think you're sleeping on Luka a little bit. You don't think Luka's that big of a star?
No. Is he a LeBron level star? Even at 4?
No, I didn't say. I don't think that, but I think he's on his way to being.
Well, and again, I think it's nonsense, but that's what they're pumping up this Cooper flag to be: transition, generation, blah blah blah. Which I acknowledge. I think is
Cooper
bullshit.
Flag will be lucky to ever be as good as Luka Doncic is, though. I'll say that.
I agree.
I think he's a great prospect, but yeah,
I agree with that as well. That different conversation. But to me, the people blowing that out of proportion and then saying, "Oh, he's the consolation prize," you make no sense. Those people. What is he? Is he raising valuations $1 billion, or is he a consolation prize? You can't be both.
Anyway, that's how it happened last night in the NBA lottery. So the Sixers, our Philadelphia Sixers, for those who are Sixers fans, I know we got fans from all over that are Eagles fans, so maybe you're not a Sixers fan, but we will get back to football in just a second. But they get number 3 overall pick, and I think they could end up with Ace Bailey, who's a great player out of Rutgers. So we'll see how that goes.
Way,
Johnny Mac,
college, I want to ask for the college basketball fans. How could you have the 2nd and 3rd projected pick in the NBA draft and do nothing at the college level? What is going on at Rutgers basketball?
I don't know, John. That's a good question.
That already frightens me because I know the Sixers are going to make the wrong decision. It already frightens me.
Daryl Morey hasn't made many good decisions. I'm not sure how that guy still.
I don't know how that guy has the reputation he has.
Me neither, John. Me neither, brother. I don't get it at all.
Oh, boy. I don't know. But any college basketball fans, please let me know how you can have the 2nd and 3rd pick in the NBA draft and you don't even make the tournament. How is that possible?
I don't know. It's a big red flag, no?
It's a huge red flag. That's my concern. Same thing with Ben Simmons back in the day.
Yeah, right. You were the best player in the world, but you couldn't win games at LSU for your life.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned by that. That's all.
Yeah. We'll see how it happens. We'll get back to football before people chop our heads off. I know. We'll get back to football. We'll talk about it. So anyway, good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Back to the football conversation. 4 games so far, Lake. We talked extensively about the Eagles and Cowboys opener. It's Thursday Night Football. Let's go to the next game, Johnny Mac, which is the closest one to that, is Week 10. Eagles at Packers. That's November 10th. I like that. Late in the year at Lambeau Field. It's going to be nice and cold out there already, probably in November. And you got a running team coming in, Johnny Mac. What do you think of that matchup? Eagles at Packers.
Well, you're going to have all the tush push angst as well to create the, gaslighting of, a bigger rivalry than it really is. So I think that'll factor into it as well. Always a difficult place to play. A lot better than potential Christmas Day matchup, which we all speculated about based on last year. So I think it's a break to play in November versus December 25th because it could be really, really cold in Green Bay. You got a shot to have at least a decent day in November on November 10th. So I think from that standpoint, it's a positive. But yeah, because of what's gone on and what will go on next week, in my estimation, that'll get pumped up. Green Bay wanted to ban the tush push, yada yada.
I think it's going to happen too. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Well, they're going to ban pushing. They're going to expand it. Just like I said, if anybody listens to this show, They're going to expand it, and they're going to ban pushing. Go back to the 2005 pre-2005 rule.
I will say I'm a little surprised that you don't think it's going to have any impact on the Eagles. Like I hear
No,
what you're saying from they're
no.
going to be successful standpoint, but you don't think that'll change their philosophies? Like right now, they approach every drive 1st and 9. I don't know if they're going to have that mentality without the push.
I think an underreported part of last year, because basically everything went right from a larger standpoint, they won the Super Bowl. They were actually, for all the talk about it's an unstoppable play, it was stoppable. It was stopped a number of times. Now, sometimes it was just from their own fault. Landon jumping off sides, Landon lining up off sides. Their percentage was down. Their percentage of successful quarterback sneaks was down to its lowest level since pre-Carson Wentz.
Yeah, right.
And
Jeff
I
brought it up yesterday, right?
Yeah, and I brought up last year a couple of times. They should shift it up. They should spread the field. They should go about it a different way. But it became, I think it in a lot of ways, I think it helps them. I guarantee this. They will be more successful percentage-wise on quarterback sneaks next year than they were last year. I guarantee it. Because they weren't that good last year comparatively to what they had been.
Yeah.
They actually took a significant step back. But, perception is often greater than reality.
I'll tell you who's happy about it. Saquon freaking Barkley. He might grab another 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, they're still going to sneak it. Now they're still Jalen's still going to Jalen's still going to get 1 million touchdowns in the red zone. It's not going to change. Not going to change. They're not going to hand it off. They're not going to do that. And I'm talking about short yardage. The quarterback sneak is too successful for them. When you hand the ball off, it doesn't matter. It happened with Barry Sanders.
Right.
You're inviting the defense to penetrate and bad things to happen, especially in close quarters. The Eagles are not going to just turn around and hand the ball off. They're not. They're going to quarterback sneak it. Jalen's going to have his 13 touchdowns. They're going to be better than they were because teams were so hyper-focused on stopping it. And the Eagles should have adjusted. Didn't have to because they won the Super Bowl, but they should have adjusted, and they should have spread people out. Now, put 5 receivers on the field. Split out Saquon. You gotta respect it. You got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley. Spread them out. They got to respect it. And then you let Jalen Hurts pick the hole.
Yeah, right. Now there's only going to be 6 players. And that's right. It's a great formula right there, what you just said. But that game, week 10, everybody, that's at Lambeau Field. So week 10, November 10th, it's Monday Night Football, and that's at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. So that's good stuff there. John, moving on. Black Friday versus the Bears. That's at home in Philly, week 13, November 28th. It's a Friday game, and I believe the time is already out for that. That's a 3 p.m. game on Black Friday. So kind of get like a halfway between 1 and 4, John. We fall on 3 o'clock on Black Friday. What do you think of that game? I think the Bears are a sleeper team to be pretty good this year, actually.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll go one of two ways. The Bears will be a huge disappointment by that point, or they'll be a good team and it'll be a difficult game. And that's what everybody's projecting the Bears to be much better, tied to Ben Johnson and his ability to do things offensively and the talent of Caleb Williams. So it might go wrong, but it might also go horribly. It might go right, but it also might go horribly wrong. So that game, I think you'll have a good indication. Either it could be a walkover by the Eagles, or it could be, a young ascending team that's ready to take the next step. I'm not sold on Chicago at all. I like Ben Johnson by himself. I like him in Detroit.
What's holding you back on them? Just basically the history?
Quarterback can't play quarterback yet. Can he teach him to play quarterback? immensely talented, but the assumption that he's going to take this massive step forward, I got to see it first. He was not good
Well, I tell
last
you
year.
what, his chances improve with Ben Johnson over Matt Eberflus. That's for sure.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But is their defense going to be as good as well? And again, Matt Eberflus is a good defensive coordinator, not a good head coach. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Um,
Where did he
Ben
land?
Johnson,
Yeah. He's
Ben,
the Texas. He's the DC now. Where Eberflus?
Dallas.
Dallas. That's right.
And now Caleb Williams, now Ben Johnson might be a good offensive coordinator. He might not be a good head coach. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
So I got to see how that, but in that division, yeah, I think people are skipping steps. They're still, to me, the fourth best team in that division. I mean, that's a difficult division. And they got a talented quarterback, but you saw last year, man, there are some concerns. They started the year like, I don't know, 3-1 or something, and they just fell apart. It's really that, if you remember, they had the game one in Washington and the Hail Mary thing, and the D-back, I forget which D-back, was trolling the fans and wasn't ready, and they lose the game, and that everything went off the rails. And some of the body language, some of the moping, some of the with Caleb Williams concerns, and that was one of the knocks on him coming out of USC. Nobody's going to knock the talent, but I got to see if he can play the position first. And a big part of playing the position is leadership. And that is are they going to beat Detroit? Now, Minnesota's going to take a step back. I don't believe in their quarterback either, but are they going to beat Green Bay? They might split. Are they going to beat Green Bay twice? I find that hard to believe.
What do you think of Green Bay? I don't like. I'm waiting for them to make the move to get to the next level, and I just feel like they're kind of playing it safe every year.
Well, they have that. That's Green Bay. They play it safe all the time. They have for decades.
Yeah, but it's easier to do when you got Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. I don't think Jordan Love is anywhere close to those two.
No, he's not. And he was a disappointment last year.
Yeah, he was.
I was expecting bigger things from him, no doubt about it. So he's turned into sort of this boom or bust guy, always throwing it down the field. When things are going well, it looks great, and when things are going, he's like the Boston Celtics play, back to basketball. Just chuck up a bunch of threes. And when they're going, it looks spectacular. And when they're not going, it looks like a mess. And that's sort of Jordan Love. It's like he's got to learn to manage the game better, take what's there, some of the underneath stuff, instead of always trying to press the football. But I for years I didn't give Matt LaFleur any credit because he came into a situation where he was basically guaranteed 12 wins a year, and he got them. And then lose in the playoffs. So, but he's proven to be a good NFL head coach, I would say. He's been there 6 years. He's made the playoffs 5 years. That's a big advantage over a rookie like Ben Johnson. So if you say they split with Minnesota, split with Green Bay, lose 2 to Detroit, are they going to be that relevant? I doubt it.
Yeah.
I'm back to Chicago.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's much better to get Chicago in week 13 than the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, they might be done by week.
That's what I mean. You always say that it's always better to play bad teams late because they've realized they're bad by that point.
And I don't know if they're going to be better than they were.
Yeah, I mean, they did improve their O-line. They do have a lot of good skill position players. They got DeAndre Swift as their running back.
I'll bring that up to Jeff Kerr.
I think they got some players. Like, it's hard for me to look at them and say, "Oh, they're going to be a 3 or 4 win team." Like, I don't think they're going to be that, but I don't.
Give me an NFL team that doesn't have players. Because
Well, I'll give, what,
I
give,
say
give
it,
me an
I
NFL
say it,
team that has as many weapons as the Bears.
I say it all the time. You can talk yourself into things in the NFL because if you pick up anybody's roster and say, "Oh God, this guy's good, this guy's good, this guy's good," they're all good. They're in the NFL. The
How good do you
DeAndre
think
Swift,
Austin Loveland's going to be?
I think he's going to be good, but he's a rookie. It's probably going to take a while.
Yeah, it's going to take a bit.
They built the team the wrong way. They built, they went and got skill players before they had the offensive line. So now they're trying to get better on the offensive line, and they brought in, some big names. And Thuney's a good player, especially when he's playing guard, not left tackle, which he was in the Super Bowl. But he's also, I don't know, 32, 33. Like, they brought in Jackson because he has a history with Ben Johnson from Detroit, Jonah Jackson. But again, he went and he was a really good player. He's local, by the way. I think he's Pencrest guy, media, somewhere in that range. And he was a good player with the Lions. And then he went to the Rams on a big money and he didn't play well. So, he's not great. He's just, people recognize the name. And then some of the other guys, Darnell Wright, who will always be, to me, if I were a Chicago fan, that would piss me off to no end when I hear that name. And it's not his fault, but he was the 10th pick in the draft, and he represents to me the fear of, we can't take Jalen Carter, not once but twice. The fear of, they could have had Jalen Carter twice. Now, I get the first time, because you didn't want to take him at number 1 overall, but then they back off again. So I look at Darnell Wright.
Yeah, but you understand the NFL, John. You talk about it all the time, dude. That guy, I mean, he was early GM at that point. He can't make a pick like that.
That's loser mentality. Yes, he can.
He can, but you're going to risk more, and rightfully so.
What do you risk except success? You're not going to be successful unless you take some risks. I mean, Andrew Berry's got that quote up from Howie Roseman. You to win a Super Bowl, you have to make decisions that could get you fired. Not in the case of Howie. Howie can say that because he's not getting fired. But
Exactly.
the sentiment behind it stands true. You're not winning unless you take risks. And again, and I'm a little biased here because I've gotten to know Jalen Carter a little bit over the years. And I say all the time, he's the most shy, polite young man you're ever going to see. So I find it hard to believe, as they're doing their pre-draft discourse and due diligence, I find it very hard to believe they went into that meeting with Jalen Carter and said, "Oh, this is a shitty kid," versus, "This is somebody who made a serious mistake and is uber talented." To me, that's where you want to take the swing. And maybe you fail, but you want to take the swing. Now, if somebody comes in, like some of the stories you heard about Shedeur Sanders, about getting mad at the coaches for fooling him and all that shit, and he's standoffish, then I get it. I guarantee that Jalen Carter ain't standoffish.
Yeah, but in the same breath, I mean, you just said it. Howie Roseman can make that pick easily. He ain't getting fired. Ryan Poles is thinking about his job security, brother. I mean, that's what people do.
You're not going to win that way. So that's fine. And I agree. I'm the one who preaches that all the time. I think NFL owners have to revisit that type of situation, give these guys more of a rope. You're never going to win that way with that philosophy.
Yeah, but would Howie Roseman have made that pick before he had the success when he got reinstated as the GM?
Probably not.
All right, so that's my point. Ryan Poles hasn't earned that leverage yet. And if you don't give him the runway to get to that point and then judge every decision he makes,
you can't use Howie's, because he's never going to reach that point. He's never going to reach that point. And Howie doesn't like this, but I say it all the time. There's no other GM that's going to reach that point. No matter there's even Eric DaCosta. He's not at that point. There's nobody at the point that Howie is. And he doesn't like that. He hates when you say he's on scholarship, but that's the reality of the situation. And that's an ownership problem more than a GM problem. So to compare anybody with Howie Roseman is, it's a logical fallacy because you're never getting to that point. Brett Veach, you can win Super Bowls. He's not at Howie's level. Not. He's at a higher level than the Ryan Poles of the world. But, it's always a sliding scale. So
no, I don't disagree with you. The only thing I disagree on is I'm not going to kill Ryan Poles forever because he didn't draft Jalen Carter in his second or third year with GM.
Because it's such a and you did it twice. Like there's, everybody else who didn't take him. You can criticize them depending on the situation. Obviously I go down the draft, but they did it twice. That's why I pick on them. They did it twice. And once, at number one, I don't even care about that because they're obviously
they didn't do it for nothing though, right? They got some picks. I mean, they got some things back to build their team. And I think Ryan Poles has built a better team in Chicago than any of his predecessors did.
There's no evidence of that. Just hype. No evidence of that. There's hype because of the people like the coach, the new coach who's done nothing as a head coach, literally nothing, not his fault.
You don't think objectively that the roster is better?
Well, I think objectively, Washington's roster is better. Dallas's roster is better. Objectively, the Eagles' roster is worse because they lost so many people coming off the Super Bowl.
Dallas's roster is not better now than when they were winning, when they were the number one offense in football. It's not.
No, I'm talking about last year.
So well, I'm talking about it's predecessors, which is longer ago than last year.
But it's easy to project that coming up. They won 5 fucking games last year. Yeah, did they get better on paper? Yes, they got better on paper. Will that translate? I don't know. Do I think Ben Johnson's going to be a better head coach than Matt Eberflus? I think he is. There's not really anything to base that on other than his success as a play caller in Detroit with this phenomenal talent. And he didn't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about the defense. You don't have to worry about the logistics. You don't have to worry about the bullshit everyday stuff like setting up practice and figuring out what you want to do. It's a big fucking job. I say it all the time. And Caleb Williams, look, I'm never going to criticize that kid's talent, but there were a lot of concerns about him. And now you're changing again. So that's another thing, and that's unfair. And that's why I like the O'Connell quote of organizations fail young quarterbacks more than young quarterbacks fail organizations. I agree with that. But they've already started to fail him. Can they turn it around? You never know when you lose a guy mentally. You never know. It might be one season. Look at Derek Carr. We just talked about Derek Carr. Derek Carr had a really, really solid, long NFL career. Really solid. Look at his brother. Was the number 1 overall pick. Much more gifted from a physical standpoint. He got sacked, I don't know, a record number of times, 75 times as a rookie. He's never freaking the same. They lost him. You never know how these kids are going to handle. Does he have the mental toughness? Well, I'll tell you this: he ain't Jalen Hurts from a mental toughness standpoint. I already made that decision. So you're basically trying to build up these tremendous traits, and there might be some deficiencies elsewhere. But is DJ Moore good? Yeah, he's good. Is Romo Odunze? Is he good? He's probably going to be good. Loveland, going to be good. The offensive line still got some issues. Interestingly, their defense was better than people gave him credit for last year, but now they lose the defensive mind. So it's a give and take. Now they got to figure it out with somebody else. And Ben Johnson, if
Are they helping Caleb Williams, John? Are they helping Caleb Williams? They built the offensive line back up. He's got skill position players everywhere. Are they giving Caleb Williams a good chance to succeed?
Well, they're doing a better job. Yeah, they have an offensive, and that's the first thing I criticize.
I mean, Ryan Poles can't do everything, dude. He can't go out there and coach the defense too. I mean, he's putting good players around him.
Well, the defense wasn't the problem.
So are you advocating they should have kept Matt Eberflus?
No, I'm advocating they shouldn't have. When they drafted Caleb Williams, when you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, everything in your organization from day one has to be in tune to getting that particular player to his ceiling and everything to maximize. So why does it take 12 months to start doing things the right way? You may have already lost them.
Yeah, but the Eagles didn't do that with Jalen Hurts. They got lucky that Shane Steichen was
Jalen Hurts number 1 overall. When you take a quarterback number 1 overall, like Cam Ward in Tennessee, everything in that organization has to be in tune to get that player to his maximum level. Everything. So number 1, I advocated they should have moved on from Ryan Poles for keeping Matt Eberflus last year, because you got to get an ecosystem around the quarterback to help him develop as early as humanly possible. Then he went about building a roster. Oh, let me get him playmakers, which we know from being in Philadelphia, at least we should know, you're doing it backwards. You can't play offense if you can't block anybody. Can't do it. So he did it backwards. Are they better on the offensive line? Again, on paper, they're a little bit better. Jonah Jackson's coming off a bad year. Joe Thuney's 32 years old. They might not even be better on the offensive line just because people know the names. I mean, the Rams cut Jonah Jackson. They traded him for nothing, basically. They didn't want him, and they signed him to a big deal. And that's a good team, a good organization. They generally make good decisions. I mean, that's a red flag. Are they going to be better? But they're in a difficult division. You know, if they're in the NFC South, they have a better chance. They might not get their head above water in that division because the other 3 teams are better, significantly better. From a talent standpoint, Detroit and Minnesota, and even Green Bay, I would say, is significantly better from 1 through 53. So, yeah, I'm not, as you know, we've been talking, I'm not a big Ryan Poles fan. I think he's been.
Yeah, I can tell.
I think he's been a really bad.
I can tell you're not a Ryan Poles fan. I think he's done a decent job.
And part of it is the organization. Being a mess, which it has been for a number of years. And you do have to have patience. But when a guy does things, and I'm spoiled by the Eagles, I'll be honest with you. When guys do things the wrong way, I mean, I can't have that. Like if I'm the owner.
Are there more teams acting like the Bears or like the Eagles? The Eagles are like one of one when it comes to team building, dude. There's not many teams building like the Eagles. There's like 3 or 4.
Well, I say it all the time, and I just said I was spoiled by watching how the Eagles do business.
But that's why you can't take that mentality though and apply it macro to the whole league. I don't think it works. It's never going to work.
Yeah, but yeah, they
or we just come to the conclusion there's 26 shitty ass organizations in the NFL.
I've come to that conclusion. There's a lot of bad organizations in the NFL. You can't build a team the wrong way and expect to have success. Like the fact that other teams don't copy what they should be copying with the Eagles is not the Eagles' fault. It's not my fault. But I think it's fair to say, well, you shouldn't do it that way. I don't give a shit because the 25 other stupid teams don't do it that way. Like, I don't want to run my organization like Cincinnati, and I love Duke Tobin. But from the standpoint of how Mike Brown does business and the cheapness and what he tries to do, Dallas, how they run their business, the Raiders, how they run their business, look, they're screwed. But if you're telling me, if you're going to, and please, if Jason A team's out there, if you want to drop me $6 billion or so, Jason, I'll buy an NFL team. I guarantee you, I'm copying what the Eagles do correctly.
Yeah, but don't the stars have to align for that? Like, I mean, if you look at the Bears draft history, they drafted
to get $6 billion. Yes.
Well, no, I'm talking about drafting the offensive line. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but is it easier said than done? They drafted Darnell Wright in the first round, 2 years ago. Last year, they drafted Caleb at 1, obviously, to get their quarterback. Now, maybe you could have argued they shouldn't have drafted Rome Odunze at 9 overall with their second first-round pick last year. I don't remember what offensive linemen were on the board at that point. And then this year, you draft Colston Loveland and Luther Burden and Ozzie Trapillo with your top 3 picks, who's another offensive lineman. So I don't know if how many opportunities did they have to put the offensive line in front of Caleb? It's only been one draft since Caleb.
Well, I mean, from the standpoint, again, my biggest issue with Caleb Williams is you should have moved on from Matt Eberflus right away. Because if you're bringing in a quarterback, you want to have the ecosystem around him to teach him, to let him grow. And they already made that. That's the biggest mistake. As far as roster building, you don't want to reach, but they reached. And you don't even want to reach for offensive linemen. It's not like I'm advocating you should take an offensive lineman at number 10 because, it's just an offensive lineman.
Again, I don't know who was taken where, but I'm not seeing many opportunities to correct the things that you're saying to correct, which I don't disagree with. But I mean, they got Caleb last year. You got to give him a little time, no?
Well, you got to give the quarterback a little time. I am giving him time. I'm just saying there's some significant issues after year 1 that you didn't see with the other quarterback who was in the mix to be number 1. And the reason why, and a big reason why, is because of the shitty organization around him. And Ryan Poles is part of that shitty organization. Now, everybody loves Ben Johnson. So he's this, and we're going to see. But I don't think Jared Goff is coming over with him because he can run an NFL offense. I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is coming over with him. I don't think Amon St. Brown is coming over. I don't think the second best offensive line in the NFL is coming over with him. I could be wrong, but that's what the Lions have.
Right.
And that's why people love Ben Johnson. Look, and people love to create.
No, I agree. But,
people love the creativity as well. But and any good coach, and Vic will say this, and Jim Schwartz would say it, every good coach, and Nick will say it, it's a talent burst. I mean, the Detroit Lions, anybody who thinks the Detroit Lions were the Detroit Lions because of Ben Johnson, I mean, you got to get past the quarterback and the running back and the receivers and the offensive line. Then you get to Ben Johnson. Same thing as here, with all due respect to Nick and Kellen Moore. I mean, you don't think there's other coaches in this league that would be successful with 4 freaking all pros on the offensive line? The best running back in football.
I mean, to be fair, the Eagles started building that offensive line before Howie.
Yeah, they build the right way. They build the right way.
But you got to give Poles a little more time. Is my point. I feel like you put the guy out the pasture. He's fucking running the Bears, dude.
The
Bears. They're not giving him any help.
I would have fired him already because of the way he did his job. That's the concern.
Firing GMs every other year. It sounds.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't, because I'd hire the right guy. That I'd hire the right guy. I said, "What's your roster building philosophy?" That's my first question. I'm not hiring you.
John, the stars have to align to build the roster the way you want, especially when you're inheriting a team that's as dysfunctional as the Bears.
No,
you can't just say, "I want to build an offensive line," and then it all comes together in a couple years. It doesn't work like that. You have to have you're limited in terms of assets and things you can acquire.
First of all, they're drafted in the top 10 every fucking year because they've been so bad for so long. So that I don't want to hear about that. Second of all, you can build the right way. You can. I'm not expecting immediate gratification, immediate results, and it doesn't have to be the first round. It could be the second round. It could be the third round. But again, If the board is even, I'm taking the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman, period. End of sentence. I do not give a shit if the fans don't like it. If everything's equal, I'm defaulting to that.
If everything's equal, that's a big if. That's a big if, John.
And the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen pretty consistently, more than you think.
An offensive lineman in the second round this year.
All right,
and they
you're
drafted
getting
one last
mixed
year,
up in the myopic nature of already after you fucked up the entire thing by keeping the head coach. Now, and maybe, by the way, maybe he wasn't allowed to fire the head coach. So ownership can factor
probably had a big payout.
Well.
Probably owner probably said, "I don't give a shit what you think of the head coach."
I don't have to defend Ryan Poles because of Kevin Warren.
Add that context. You're making it seem like Ryan Poles made every bad decision when he's running a shitty organization.
Well, you're making it sound like he's this fucking great GM, and
that's not what I made it sound like. I said, give him a little time. He's built a better Bears roster than most other GMs have.
Where is this? It's amazing to me. They won 5 freaking games with Caleb Williams last year. They won 5 freaking games. Where is this phenomenal? And the best part of the roster, ironically, is the defensive side of the ball, not the offensive side, but because people recognize the names of the skill position players. They're by far the better part of their team is the defense. By far, their defense was actually pretty damn good. One of the more underrated, Jalen Johnson. You know, he might be the best cornerback in football. Nobody knows. Kyler Gordon's the highest paid nickel corner in football. TJ, I love TJ. You know, Montez Sweat is one of his few good moves. Their defense is actually...
All right, so just, and again, I don't disagree with everything you're saying, but like, so you absolutely shredded them for passing on Jalen Carter. Fine, he's a great player. You just said the defense is better and they should take offensive linemen. They traded back to 10 and took an offensive lineman.
I didn't say that. I said you got to build the right way. It could be defensive front people, could be offensive front people. I'm not reaching for anything, but I'm saying to assume that none of these they're obsessed with getting the skill. They were obsessed, then they still were with Loveland. You know, this year
that's where I'd knock them. They got Loveland.
You know why? You know why? Because it's weak GMs and they're looking for popularity. They're looking for Chicago radio to say, oh, this is a great pick. And you can't run a team that way.
I agree with that.
You can't run a team that way. You know, again, Cam Jurgens was very unpopular. I bring up all the time. Everybody was shitting on Howie. To the point he said it in the press conference. Look, this is how we roll. His exact quote. And I'm sorry if the fans don't like it. This is how we roll. You know.
Yeah, my only pushback on you right now is they drafted Caleb last year, and I haven't really seen them pass on many opportunities to build the right way since they've drafted Caleb. Outside of the head coach,
it's 1 year. It's 1 year.
Right, but outside of the head coach, I think they've done pretty good for Caleb Williams.
I mean, you're looking at skill position people, I assume. Yeah,
no, I'm looking at the assets that they had, John. They didn't have where would they have drafted an offensive lineman?
Well, they drafted an offensive lineman at number 10.
Yeah,
but
he's not, he got Carter.
They overdrafted him, I would say.
That's a part of it.
Because they were fearful of a great player. Well, and they weren't the only team. I pick on them. I pick on them because they passed on them twice. This year they could have picked a shitload of people, but they picked Loveland, another skill position guy. And they already have a good tight end, by the way, in Cole Kmet. Not great, but really good, solid player. They picked that, and then I think with the 38th pick, they picked a wide receiver. They already have a Dunze. They already have
I didn't
DJ
get that
Moore.
pick. I'm agree with you on that. 39, they took Luther Burden, who I think is actually a pretty good player. Who's that Missouri
Yeah,
kid?
well, what the fuck is he going to do as the third receiver?
They took Ozzie Trapillo
now-
with their second. No,
Yeah, and then they finally got the, but how many people you miss out on because of that, and then you start doing it the right way in the second, third round. All right, you're trying. To me, he strikes as somebody trying to get people who don't matter to approve of the way he does his job, and he's not the only one. I don't even know why we got down this route of picking it. There's
a bunch of
GMs
playing the Bears. That's why they're playing the Bears. And
there's a bunch of there's more GMs that act like Ryan Poles than act like Howie Roseman. A lot more. And
yes, but do you believe that there is a curve because of the ownership? In other words, Jeffrey Lurie's a top 3 owner in the NFL, maybe top 5, depending on who I think top 3. I think
would argue number 1.
All right, argue number 1. How much does that help Howie Roseman? We talk about it all the time. Now go to the Bears. How good is their ownership? How much are they helping create an environment that Ryan Poles can actually?
Yeah, but you know what?
right
Here's the difference, because I'm the one who tells everybody all the time Howie has a longer rope than everybody else. But you know what? Howie taught Jeffrey more than Jeffrey taught Howie.
Andy taught him both, and Joe Banner taught him both.
I agree with that. Andy more than Joe, but
yeah.
I agree with that, but that's the difference. Like, I think, like, it's not like Jeffrey came around from being around. And you're right, Andy's even more important to that. But Howie, when we're talking about the current setup, it's definitely Howie running Jeffrey more than Jeffrey running Howie, if that makes sense.
But you do have to have the owner on board when it comes to the contract.
Yeah, well, you got to get him on board. How do you get him on board? By having demonstrated success.
Now I don't know if that's true, John. You're not going to get every owner, no matter how successful, to spend like Jeffrey Lurie. You're just not.
Well, it's not about spending.
It's about whatever it is, whatever you think it's about. Most owners don't go down that road. That's why there's not that many Jeffrey Luries.
Well, there aren't.
He's very liberal in the way he runs an organization, which is a good thing. Gives them a lot of space to be able to do the things they need to do.
Sometimes not. But, overall, yes, he's, it's part of the whole philosophy. But there's far more GMs like Ryan Poles than Howie Roseman. And there shouldn't be. But there are. And that's the reality. Again, and I say it all the time. And I'm not firing Ryan Poles because he hasn't been successful. I'm firing him if I was in charge of the Bears because he's not doing the job the right way. Like, I don't expect him to be successful where he came in. Even though he came in the same year in the same division as another GM who's got 2 13-win seasons, and people shit on him for not having playoff success. And I have as well, and everybody, because that's the nature of the game. But you can't sit there and say Kwesi Adofo-Mensah hasn't done a good job building rosters and building and doing things the right way. Now, you hope the playoff success comes down the road. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But it was the same year, both down situations, and one guy has done it the right way for the most part. Some bad draft picks, boy, he's done it the right way as far as philosophy.
And the other guy, a little bit of a better bones though on that team, right?
Well, they were pretty shitty when he came in. I don't know. I mean, they haven't had a quarterback situation. They're finding Sam Darnold off the scrap heap.
Yeah, well, we're still talking about though. They got a great team with no quarterback, so they haven't fixed that. But that's the hardest thing to fix.
Well, that is the hardest thing. But offensive line, they faltered. They had a terrible offensive line for years. So they had a good team, terrible offensive line. They get good tackles. They fail again with the interior offensive line. All of a sudden, he drafts Donovan Jackson. No, I think he overdrafted him, but he's trying to fix it. He signs Ryan Kelly. He signs Will Freeze for $88 million, trying to fix it. You can't do anything with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Aaron Jones if you can't block people, as you saw against the LA Rams.
Right.
Trying to fix it with relevant, not bullshit moves. First round pick, $88 million, 4-time Pro Bowler. Not Jonah Jackson, because he had a good 8-game stretch with Ben Johnson. $88 million, first round pick, 4-time Pro Bowler. That's the difference.
Yeah, this is a good.
I should have started there.
We'll wrap it up with this. All right. I know everybody's mad. We're talking about GMs, though. I know it's the Bears, but I think it's a good conversation about football. Lawrence checks in. He says, where I agree with John is the GM of the Bears is getting fired anyway, so you might as well gamble. You shouldn't play not to lose, play to win. That was John's point. It's a good one there. Lawrence, good stuff. Johnny Mac, good comment there. Good commentary there, but Black Friday versus the Bears, that's why we started talking about it, all right? Eagles
That's a win.
Bears come to Philly week 13. It's November 28th. It's Black Friday football, which kind of sucks. Now we're playing Black Friday football, John.
A lot of things would have to go wrong for the Eagles not to be in a position to win that game. A lot of injuries, I would say.
So we got 4 games, and not one of them's a Sunday, which goes to the point of how we've talked about the NFL is getting close to playing on 7 days a week. We have 4 games, and we don't even have a Sunday yet. So
I don't even have
5 different weekdays are confirmed at the minimum.
I did put that on Twitter. My sources tell me the Eagles at some point will have a Sunday game.
It's a good source, John. You can take that source to the bank. All right. All right. Then last game we didn't talk about, John. The NFC East. Eagles. Commanders. December 20th. It's Saturday football. Is there anything worse than Saturday NFL football? I mean, you got to be kidding me on that. But Saturday football, Eagles.
Now that's a big game too. I prefer if I were an Eagles fan to play in Washington early, Landover technically, and have them come to Philadelphia on December 20th or some week 16, week 17. But it's going to be the opposite, and that game, if everything is as close as we think it's going to be, that game might decide the NFC East.
Yeah, you're right. So week 16, that's late in the year. It's going to be a good one there. December 20th, that's Saturday football, 5 days before Christmas. We will see if the Eagles play on Christmas. You think they're playing on Christmas, John?
I do.
Me too. And I'm not happy about it.
No.
I am not a.
I mean, why not? I mean, every game is the Eagles. Look, Jeffrey Lurie got in hot water. We talked about Jeffrey, saying the gold standard. They might be the gold standard now. He might have to roll that back out. This league loves the Philadelphia Eagles. Loves it. Loves them. And part of that is the fans, because of the fans are so passionate. But it annoys the living shit out of me when so many fans say, oh, the league district. They love the Eagles. Love them. Love them.
Well, what's not to love? They got everything you need. They got all the stars. They got a great football.
Exactly.
They win a lot of games.
So why do people think they don't? That's all I'm saying.
I think there's a difference between does the NFL hate our team versus, do other fan bases, other pundits, do other things like that. That I agree with you. The league, anybody who says the league is out to get the Eagles has been proven undeniably wrong. And I agree with you on that. But I will say, I think people do still talk about
I guarantee you we're talking next week and you're going to be hearing the exact opposite when the NFL bans pushing.
Well, that's true. It's a good point by you. Next week they'll ban pushing, and everybody will say, "Oh, if it was the Chiefs, they wouldn't have done it or whatever."
Exactly.
That's all coming. You're right about that.
Yeah.
No, I have no rebuttal for that, John. You're right.
Yeah. Well, it's just part of it's just fandom. I get it, but I'm trying to, the league loves the Philadelphia Eagles. And the international games are out officially, not that they were, but the Brazilian game team's going to be announced Wednesday, but it's going to be the Chiefs and the Chargers. Then September 28th in Dublin, Vikings, Steelers. October 5th, London, Vikings, Browns. So the Vikings are going on a 2-game road trip. They're the visitor. They're the first team to do that since Jacksonville. October 12th, Denver and the New York Jets in London. October 19th, Rams at Jags at Wembley Stadium, the home field of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The home away from home. November 9th in Berlin, it's the Falcons and the Colts. Boy, that's a snoozer. You can't help Berlin a little bit, although good luck to Shane Steichen. And Sunday, November 16th, it's Washington and Miami in Madrid, Spain. Those are your international games. So no Eagles internationally, which is good. But
that's great. I hate it in the international games. It's stupid.
I hate them too.
Game.
I hate them.
I get why they're doing it from a business perspective, but I hate them. So good stuff there. Good stuff. So those are the 4 games we know. We haven't gotten any news while we've been on the air, have we? On schedule.
No, I've been too busy crushing Ryan Poles. I haven't checked my phone.
Yes, we have. Yeah,
I haven't. No, nothing new. But yeah, there's. Let me see what's coming out today. Let me double check. The international games came out on Good Morning Football, so we knew that.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then ESPN had and that was the Eagles Monday Night Football announcement. And now Wednesday is CBS mornings, whatever their morning show is. They're going to have an announcement. Netflix is going to have their Christmas announcements tomorrow. So CBS is probably going to be Eagles Chiefs, I would imagine, is one of their announcements. They're going to keep that game. And then Christmas, the Eagles, still, I don't know who, but I expect the Eagles to play on Christmas.
Yeah, which sucks, but we'll see how it works for me. I'm a working man. I love to work. I don't ever complain about working, but Christmas is one day I love to have with the family, and we'll be working. John will be working all day on Christmas, which is brutal.
It's the life we've chosen, as one of my old editors said, in a very douchebaggy way. It's the life you've chosen, gentlemen.
Well, it is. I mean, what are you going to do? Sit here and complain about it? I will not do it. All right. Good stuff, John. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we got to wrap up this show. All right. We'll talk about some Eagles. We'll talk about some what they look like going into the year next year. Everybody's getting better, John. That's the one thing. It's the best thing about the NFL, man. It's the parity. You said it earlier. You can talk yourself into any team. And I think that's what a lot of people do in the offseason.
I can talk myself into the Chicago Bears after just ripping them.
I could talk myself into the Eagles going back and repeating, despite you telling me their team got worse on paper.
Well, yeah, they're still better than everybody else for the most part. I mean, they just came closer to everybody else. But yeah, they still have probably more talent than anybody else. So yeah, it's easy to talk yourself into the Eagles. But they have gotten worse on paper, though. I mean, I think anybody who doesn't think that is sort of drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well, I think the Bears got better on paper, and you've shredded me.
Well, they have. No, I agree with you. Of course, they've gotten better.
Oh man!
But
I hear you. The Eagles got some work to do for sure, coming back off that defense.
But the Bears, started at a much lower level, so it's much easier for them to get better on paper than the Eagles. Not everybody's starting from the same starting point.
A lot easier to get better when you're bottom of the barrel. No doubt. All right, good stuff, Johnny Mac. We'll take our commercial break. I want to thank and welcome everybody for being here this morning. Thank you all. Hit that like button. Big thanks again to Jason A-Team, who dropped that big super chat. Johnny Mac, you ripped A-Team. I'm like, this guy drops us a banger and you rip him. Come on, Johnny Mac.
I didn't rip him at all. I said if he wants to give me $6 billion, I'll buy an NFL team. That's not a rip.
Funny, though, because you brought him into it, and I'm like, holy crap, A-Team's catching straight.
I was complimenting him. I said, help me out, and I'll build a good NFL team.
There you go.
I'm not going to fire myself. I'm going to be Jerry Jones. I'm going to build the
A-Team,
team.
will
the right
you
way.
qualify to be John's general manager, which is a tough qualification?
No. I'm going to be the GM. Nobody
Oh,
else.
you're going to be the GM.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to be
I'm
the
going to
owner
Jerry
and the GM.
Jones the thing, but I'm going to build the team in the right way.
How
I'm going
quick
to copy
is the John McMullen franchise getting to the bowl?
and I'm going to copy the way the Eagles do it. That's what I'm going to do.
Maybe if you get-
Not players, not steal their players. I'm going to build the team the right way.
John, this is what you do. All right. When A-Team sends you the $6 bill, you go to Howie and you say, I'll give you 3% of the franchise and $10 million.
I'm GMing it. Because Howie's got his own.
You're going to do it better than Howie?
Yeah, I'm going to do it better.
J-Mac.
I'm going to do it better.
Listen, I respect the confidence. I love it.
I'm going to do it better.
Look,
Howie's a little bit too loyal to older players at times, although he's learned.
He's definitely learned a little bit. Key says, this is actually a great segment idea for the offseason, although we kind of just did it. Key says, that's a good segment to have, Z. What would John do with a franchise? I like it, Keith. Maybe we'll say, I'll write that down, Keith, and we'll do that at some point in the offseason when we don't have the schedule released because, we're in the middle of May and you get off Eagles for 10 minutes and people still get pissed at you, Keith. I'm like, guys, it's all good. We got 10 hours.
Still football. We could have been on basketball. I could go off on the Sixers.
Here we go. We got some supers we got to get to. Anwan says, Bears will be the king of the North by 2 games. I don't know, Anwan. Don't say that to J-Mac. Brian Pumper says, Bears had 8 picks in 2 years, reached on Loveland at 10 over Warren, drafted a dude named Ryan Hippopotamus, didn't even know if Buddy's real name might be AI. All right. Pumper's with you, man. He doesn't like the Bears.
Well,
you want Pumper on your side, this guy's got a historic losing record.
Well, to Pumper's point, it's a little bit different. It's not apples to apples, but I see a lot of Sam Hinkie in Ryan Poles. It's easy to rip shit down. It's hard to rebuild it up.
Build it up. John, will you sign Bryce Huff on your new team?
No. I learned from others' mistakes.
Okay, good. Good to know.
But if I had, I'll tell you what, if you plot me into the Eagles, which you're not going to do, but I'm giving him a chance on this team right now because of the situation.
Who's your head coach hire?
Well, I'm not. If you're plopping me into this team right now, I'm not getting rid of the head coach. I'm saying if for some reason Howie retired, went off into the sunset, they gave me the job.
No, I'm talking about the John McMullen purchase team. Who would you hire as your head coach?
Oh, that takes much more thinking, and it would be a young guy. It would be an offensive guy. It'd be a lot like Ben Johnson, but I would make sure, like, you got to go through the interview process. Like, I don't want somebody who doesn't pay any fucking attention to anything but offense.
Right, I agree with that for sure.
But
now, I know you said, and objectively, you're right. Ben Johnson hasn't done crap, but do you think he's going to be a good head coach? I
don't know because I don't know him. Like, to me, the bigger part, as you've seen with Nick Sirianni, and I'm not. This is not bullshit. The bigger part is the leadership aspect of it. It is way. I don't know how many times I've said on this show, the most overrated thing in professional football is play calling, and I mean that because people put such a premium on it. And you do most of that work during the week, and everything is all set up, as Tom Brady explained much better than I could. Basically, you're calling probabilities. Everything's on your little play card, your chart. You got a bunch of all of that is done in preparation and where everybody contributes. And then where the difference is, slight difference is Shane Steichen versus Nick or Kellen or Brian Johnson. He had a better feel in the moment, similar to Vic on defense. Vic has a great feel in the moment, and that's big. But as an overriding head coaching job, which is a very big job, as I try to explain all the time, leadership is way fucking more important than play calling. Way more important. Getting everybody on the same page, getting everybody buying in, all these intangible things that nobody thinks matter. Way bigger deal than fucking play calling. You can get anybody to call plays.
Right. And the
As long
rare
as you
breed,
do it
the
right
rare
during the
breed
week.
can do both, John.
Yeah. Well, and some guys like it. Like Doug loved it. You know.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it did catch up to Doug.
Well, even Doug at the end, he tagged off and gave Press Taylor some opportunities. Gave Rick
Being too loyal. He was too loyal to Press Taylor, man.
Rick Scangarella. Yeah, he gave him an opportunity. And people don't even know. That's the funny thing. Like, we had no idea. We're there every day. We had no idea Press Taylor was calling some of the plays. We had no idea Rich Scangarella was there. How would we?
Could you call plays?
No. But I that's a yes and a no. No, I couldn't build it. I couldn't build a game plan.
Right, the playbook.
I couldn't build it the game. But once you gave me the chart, yeah,
with the probabilities and all those things.
Right? I could get you through a game and not embarrass anybody. Just picking off the chart. But I couldn't build the chart.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that for sure. All right, good stuff, Johnny Mac. Appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button. We've had a fun show today. I love when we kind of go all over the board talking about things. Big thanks to all of our viewers in here today, to our super chatters. Hit that like button. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Appreciate everybody being here in this offseason. We're 1 day away from the official NFL schedule release. John, it's what, tomorrow night at 8 p.m., is it, or 7 p.m. or something?
Yeah, I don't know when it starts, but
Yeah,
big rigmarole. It should be out before then.
Yeah, we'll
most
probably
part.
have a leak of it before we've already gotten 4 games so far. We mentioned them at the start for those who were just checking in or who didn't catch the open of the show. You got week 1, obviously Eagles versus Cowboys in the opener, Thursday Night Football, September 4th. Then you have week 10, Eagles at Packers. So in Lambeau Field, November 10th, that's Monday Night Football. Then you have week 13, Black Friday versus the Chicago Bears. No time yet on that game. Or no, that's 3 o'clock. The Black Friday game's 3 o'clock. That's week 13, November 28th. And then you have week 16, Saturday football versus the Commanders, December 20th. So Christmas week, 5 days before Christmas, the weekend before Christmas going into that game. So 4 good games so far. Johnny Mack, you got 2 NFC North opponents, 2 NFC East opponents. I'll tell you what, John, the schedule this year is no joke. How much stock do you put into the strength of schedule? I hear people talk about that a lot, and I'm like, well, the one thing I don't like about it is it's going off of last year, right? Like, we talk about how much the NFL can change in one year. It does go off of last year. Now, I understand you're playing a lot of teams that made the playoffs last year. How much stock do you put into the strength of schedule conversation?
Not much. From the traditional strength of schedule, for that standpoint, you talk about everybody. There's worst to first every year in the NFL. Teams are going to go backwards. Other teams are going to go forward. So not much. There's some guys. Warren Sharp does a good job. They do strength of schedule, weighted strength of schedule by history and other numbers that end up being much better, much more valuable. But from the standpoint of the difference between a first place schedule and a last place schedule, it's pretty significant. The 3 games that shift. You're playing first place teams versus last place teams. That's why you see worst to first every year, because they have an easier road. It's an unbalanced schedule. It's a 32 team league, and there's only 17 games. So not everybody's playing everybody. Not everybody, and then injuries and attrition and all that kind of stuff. So, but you can say that the Eagles have a difficult schedule just from the standpoint of there's a bunch of good teams on their schedule from last year, and not all of them are going to fall off. And then there's other teams, and we're talking about 2 of them. We just talked about one extensively.
Yeah.
I don't like the organization, but yes, Chicago's gotten better from a talent standpoint. Dallas has gotten better after a bad season, just from, getting the quarterback back and Micah Parsons back and some of the defensive players back. So they've gotten better. And then you have playoff teams, Green Bay, Washington, we do know on the road, but typically I think more important, and we got 4 games. What I look at the schedule is themes. Do you have a 3-game road trip? What's that third of those 3 games? That's usually a very difficult game to win. Short weeks, and this is not helping the Eagles that we have 4 games, and we got a Thursday game, a Friday game, a Saturday game, a Monday game. They're all over because they're good. And everybody wants them in national television windows, and that's going to continue. So, what do those look like? What do those weeks look like? The first game, obviously not as big of a deal on a Thursday as usually, because you have plenty of time to prep and get things set up and have a sort of normal lead up to the week. But if you end up playing on Christmas and a short week on Thursday night, what does that look like? We know before, pretty difficult game, might be the whole season for the NFC East,
right,
at Washington. Then if you're going on the road on Christmas or even at home, what does that look like? What does that game look like? So I tend to look at things like that more than, they're fourth. I think they're 4th toughest from just records. I mean, that doesn't mean that much, but I think the themes and how things are set up mean a little bit more. But they're a first place team. They're playing a first place schedule, and that means you're going to be fourth or somewhere.
And you could tell. You could tell they're playing a first place schedule for sure, man. Winning the Super Bowl has its upsides and its downsides as well. So that's why it's so hard to repeat, though, John.
Yeah, very hard. And that's one of the big reasons why. Not to mention the attrition, which is happened on the field, in the coaching staff, and in the executive offices, as it always does, the Super Bowl champions.
Now, I got a question for you, John, that's a little bit bigger, and not many. So there's going to be people who hate it, but we got Texas Boy in here. We got some of our Cowboy fans in here. So I want to talk about that for a little bit. Eagles, Cowboys. What team do you think is built better for the next 3 years? And I know on the surface, you might say, oh, Eagles. And I get it. Most people would say Eagles, but they do have some really good players that are really young. I mean, they got CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens now. If they get them under contract, you got Michael Parsons. Obviously, Dak Prescott is 32. Maybe he's on the other side of his prime, but obviously still a good quarterback when he's on his game. What team you think is more positioned to dominate the NFC East for the next 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles are insanely young for as successful as they are. Especially on defense. Yeah, the Eagles are set up well. And you just mentioned quarterback. Their quarterback is 32. Jalen Hurts is 26 or whatever.
Yeah, but Jalen also plays a different style. I mean, you can look at other quarterbacks who were the dual threat style who had a lot quicker downturn than a traditional.
Yeah, but I don't think he plays the style of other dual threat quarterbacks. I don't think he plays like Lamar Jackson.
He's a little smarter about it. He gets out of bounds.
Yeah, he plays a different style than they do. He's almost got his own unique style. And he doesn't, I don't, plus he's built for it, we talk about his power a lot. He's, typically quarterbacks aren't as powerful as Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Well, you could add in the Commanders to this conversation as well. I mean, that's a team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned with Jaden Daniels. I mean, look at him. I'm a little bit, but the game's changing too, and that's difficult.
Yes, it is.
Devontae. I looked at Devontae. I looked at Devontae Smith. I still remember I saw him for the first time. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
He is small,
and like he's extremely durable. He missed a couple games last year for the first time. He's been extremely durable. He's extremely tough, which is pretty amazing for his size. Yeah, I mean, it's changing. And then I talk about it all the time on defense. It's like, well, Nolan Smith is undersized. Alex Hunt is undersized. Azeez Ojulari is undersized. Does that matter at some point? Well, maybe it doesn't matter anymore. Everybody plays the same way. Everybody's going. But, then I look at it from the standpoint, all right, look at what Baltimore and Philadelphia did. And they, bully balled their way to tremendous success. Are other teams going to pick up on that? Then you have the constant pendulum shifting. If other teams start picking up on that, and all of a sudden you got half the league trying to bully people like the old days, then you're going to have to get bigger people.
I think it's funny. I mean, you mentioned this one time where it's like on defense, Eagles are built for the modern game and the way it's going. On offense, they're built the opposite. Like, I don't know if the Eagles defense could stop the Eagles offense because they're built so polar opposite.
Oh, they couldn't. They couldn't.
Yeah, no, they couldn't at all.
Which is ironic because the defense is better than the offense, but the defense doesn't have to play the offense. They get bowled over like a bunch of Christian Rose booms. I mean, the Eagles' offensive line is, boy, I don't know how to get people more in tune to that, but like I know they understand what they're watching with Saquon Barkley and even A.J. Brown and even Jalen Hurts and all these great skill position players. But boy, I if anything, even with all the all pros and Lane's going to the Hall of Fame, and who knows if Jordan keeps going on this trajectory and Landon keeps going on his trajectory. Man, this offensive line is, I told you, the one former GM told me it's one of the best offensive lines of all time. Of all time.
And it's young. It's young. How old is Mailata now? 28?
Yeah, somewhere around there. And Mackay was a part of that as well. So you don't have Mackay because Mackay he was
Jordan just turned 28.
He was tremendous last year as well. Yeah, I mean, that offensive line is just
26, Landon Dickerson. Cam Jurgens has got to be younger than that. I mean, Lane's the only old one, and I'm pretty confident they'll be able to replace him. Probably not to the level of Lane, but I think they'll be able to get a guy in there for sure, as they've done.
I think it's going to be more difficult to replace what Becton gave them than other people, but they got a bunch of bodies to try to.
Yeah, but you do admit, right? I mean, you're sticking an offensive lineman between two all pros.
Yeah, but the only thing is, I don't think you can replace what he gave you in the form of the bully aspect of it. You can replace it as far as competency. I have no question about that. But I don't think they're going to have the same bully type atmosphere as they had with Becton, because he just beat the crap out of people. So many of the long Saquon runs, he's out front getting a pancake. I can't see Tyler Steen or anybody. I'm not picking on Tyler Steen. He's just the leader in the clubhouse. He's not going to give you that same type of presence.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Good stuff there, John. 10 minutes left in the show today. We'll keep you guys updated on all the schedule changes, but we do have 4 games so far. So it's going to be good, man. It's going to be a good season, but it's going to be a tough season. If you look at the overall schedule, which we pulled up on the show before, Eagles got to play some teams, man, this year. So it's going to be a good year though, John, but an interesting year for sure.
Yeah. You're the hunted. You're no longer the hunter. Everybody's coming after you. You're always going to get a particular team's A game for the most parts. Yeah. A lot of people's seasons are going to be made if they can beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So
I agree with that. You lost Mekhi Becton. Should they have just signed Mekhi Becton? It wasn't that much money. He got $7 million?
Yeah, but he has some injury issues. Like I said, that factors into it. I
know, but it was only a 2-year deal. It wasn't like it was like this huge.
Well, either it was CJ. They're being very disciplined. For what's
I just wonder if they went too far, and you'll look back and say, "Dang, why didn't we do that?"
Maybe they certainly could have caught. Like the Goddard was the one move that they came off of because they were out. They were out on Goddard.
Yeah, well, they bullied him into the corner in a way, basically.
Yeah, they did, and he took for it. But even so, I mean, $10 million is $10 million, and they got out of the CJ business. Now, part of it is other stuff. But they got out of the CJ business for less than that. They got out of the Mekhi business for less than that. So, maybe they figured out after the draft that this isn't going to work, with Cal Katera and Harrison Bryant, Kylan Granson. But
I'm still curious what the plan is post them, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Obviously, this season
the plan past them isn't here yet, basically. I mean, got another year to deal with it.
Right. Yep, no doubt about it. So the 4 games are in. Again, you're looking at a tough schedule for sure this year, but we'll see. I mean, like some of these teams, the NFC North was great last year. Maybe there's a fall back to earth. Maybe there's injuries. You never know how it's gonna shake out. I think the East this year is going to be great, John. I think the East is going to be really good. I've told you, I think the Cowboys are going to be a playoff team. Commanders are obviously probably going to be a playoff team, and then the Eagles, I think, are going to be a playoff team. I think you got 3 playoff teams coming from the East this year. You think that's a way embellishment? What do you think of that?
No, it's possible. I think Dallas will be in the conversation to be that last wild card team. I think a lot of it, you talk about the North. They're not going to have 2 14-win teams. I guarantee you that. Um, and I picked Minnesota to go back more because of McCarthy, but
Boy, 2
Detroit,
14-win teams in the North last year, and they didn't get a playoff win, John. That's tough.
it's better to play. Well, that's why, I wouldn't get too hyper down on if the Eagles start 2-2 like they did last year.
Yeah, right.
Versus 10-1 the year prior. The goal isn't to play your best ball in September and October or even, November. It's to play it
Or
late.
even December, for that matter, with the way the Detroit Lions played at the end of last year.
Yeah. Well, in Detroit, it was more of just injuries, just piling up.
But remember, they beat the Vikings in that final game, and everybody was like crapping on Darnold, and then they both got knocked out.
Yeah. Dan Campbell was talking about see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and they both got knocked out. But the Rams were playing good football, and for the majority of the year, Minnesota was better, and they started playing poorly, and the Rams started playing well. Same with the Eagles, in the fact that now the Eagles played well for an extended portion of time, 16 of 17, so that's pretty good. But they played still, especially offensively. Well, it's hard because defensively they had one of the great Super Bowls of all time defensively. But offensively, they got better. They're probably 2 of their 3 best games were the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Offensively.
Definitely. I would say definitely.
So they were playing their best football late as well. And that always happens with the Super Bowl champions. But that's the goal. So but over 7
the Super Bowl offense, do you think that's the aspiration of the offense this year? Not saying you're going to land there every week, but do you think that's the goal? Like if Saquon's
I wouldn't. I mean, there's no reason.
Well, I just get a kick because people get so mad when we talk about what the offense has to do this year, and they kind of showed you what
I know. Well, because they forget all the bad times because it ended well. But again, you can't do it. But boy, if you could do a thought experiment and do a Men in Black type thing and convince people that the Rams beat them, man, they'd be shitting on this offense if they lose that game. Man, they'd be shitting on this offense. That's all we'd be talking about the entire offseason. How the offense threw for 65 net yards, whatever the hell it was. But then they took off. There's no reason this shouldn't be a top 5 offense. None, from the talent they have assembled. But they haven't been. They've been, 8-8 the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how confident you are in Kevin Patullo, but he's the guy who's manning the ship now.
Yeah,
he hasn't been talked about enough. We gotta dedicate a show to Kevin Patullo.
Yeah, I like Kevin a lot. I think he's going to be fine. But as far as the perception, if there's some struggles, and there will be, there's struggles every year, he's going to get some shit. Part of the job, though. He understands.
Well, part of my take on Patullo is I don't think he's going to upset or change the apple cart at all. I think he's going to come in. He's going to slowly maybe implement other things, which is the right thing to do. You just had a Super Bowl winning team. In
the Nick Sirianni era, which has been pretty successful, I think we can all agree.
Yeah,
they've had 4 different play callers because Nick's the head coach. Have any of them upset the apple cart?
No. It's Jalen Hurts' offense. That's why.
Exactly. That's so no. I mean, A, why would you upset the apple cart? And B, you just need to get better in what you do. That's the goal. More consistent. I don't even say better because their high points are tremendous.
Right.
But they just got to get more consistent from week to week, I would say. But no, he's certainly not going to upset the apple cart, nor should he.
No, he shouldn't. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But that's why I think he's flown under the radar. I mean, you know, he hasn't been talked about much this offseason. But Johnny Mac, good show today, brother. For those who missed the full show, all right, it's one you want to watch. We had a great conversation about GMs, about the Chicago Bears. You might be like, why the hell were you talking about the Bears? Well, I don't think
Black
that
Friday. That's what started.
It wasn't just a Bears discussion, though. It was a good discussion on football and team building and all of those different things, I thought. So the Bears were just a catalyst for the conversation.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. They play the Eagles Black Friday this year. And then you got the 4 games obviously released so far, and we should know more either today or tomorrow. The full schedule releases. So we'll see. Looks like the Eagles might be playing on Christmas Day. We'll see about that. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts on this Tuesday edition of Birds 365?
The schedule's coming. We're 1 day away, and then we can start playing wins and losses. How do I get this team to? How do I get this team to 17 wins?
No, that's not going to happen. I think it's going to be a tight race, but we'll see how it happens. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. We will catch you tomorrow on Birds 365. Thank you, brother.
All right, thanks all. See ya.
All right, there's Johnny Mac, John McMullen, the #1 Eagles beat reporter in town. Give him a follow at JF McMullen on Twitter. Give me a follow over there at Real Zander. And then if you're on Instagram, at Zander Krause Show as well. All right, so thank you guys all for that, for the support. I know a lot of you guys do follow me over there. I try and follow all of you back if I recognize the name. I don't always recognize the name, so just holler at me if I don't know who you are. Appreciate everybody being here today. We've had a great crowd in here this week, which I do appreciate very much. Now, breaking news, there's a new NFL team coming, and it's called the John McMullens. It's coached by John McMullen. The general manager is John McMullen. The defensive coordinator is John McMullen. The offensive coordinator is John McMullen. The starting quarterback might be John McMullen. Okay, that was a great segment, though. I got a total kick out of that segment. I do appreciate John's ability to go for it, though, man, and say it with confidence. So great stuff there. I thought it was a good discussion. I know some people get upset when we're not like all Eagles all the time, but I did think that was a good discussion. And you know, those are the kind of ways you tap into some of J-Mac's mind. Whether you like him or you don't like him, or you agree with him or you disagree with him, the idea is that, you know, to get him to expand and open up and share football knowledge with you that you guys take. So I think we did a pretty good job with that today. The D Hughes, you let John McMullen come over and date your wife the way you speak. Come on, man. Come on, D Hughes. Come on, brother. He says that team might win it all, Xander. We just need J-Mac at receiver, too. I love it. I love it. Jason A-Team says J-Mac is the best. A-Team somehow out of left field, he pulled you into the fray, brother. He pulled you into the fray. I'm happy you didn't take it as an insult, but he did. He pulled you into the fray, man. It was pretty hilarious. All right. Pretty hilarious. But no, good stuff, man. That was a funny exercise, a fun segment. And I appreciate John's confidence. I really do. I like confident people, and John is certainly confident. No doubt about it. Good stuff there. How's everybody doing? What do you guys think of the first 4 games? So you got week 1 Cowboys, week 10 at Packers, week 13 Bears come to the Philly, and week 16 Commanders come to Philly December 20th, pre-Christmas. So I think it's I think it's decent so far. Again, we talked about the Bears enough today. You guys know that I think they're going to be at least a decent team, or they have the chance to be a decent team. Commanders are obviously going to be pretty good. They have obviously Jaden Daniels coming back, obviously, and they've built their roster. The only thing, James Jones, if you're in here, yeah, I see you in here. So good to see Jammers in here. Jammers says, Xander, I appreciate y'all in general. James Jones, you know we love you, brother. Our resident commie fan, our resident communist in the chat. That's you, Jammers. Unfortunately for you, your favorite football team decided to take up one of the goofiest names you'll ever see, and they did that. So I'm going to call you the communist fan. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, Jammers. I like what you guys did a little bit. You guys got a lot older, no? Like, do you wonder about, James, if you guys got too old? I mean, you brought in a bunch of old heads. Brought in a third. How old is Laramie Tunsil? How old is Debo Samuel? How old is Javon Kinlaw? You brought in a bunch of old dudes. Like, meanwhile, the Eagles have, like, their youngest. I can't even find a guy on the roster who's over 30 outside of Lane Johnson. And yet the Commanders are, like, adding 30-plus-year-old dudes like they're rookies. I don't really get why they did that. I don't get that. Pumper says, how do I think it's going? Good thing we won the bowl last year. Yeah, but Brian, you said it never happened last year. Pump. You said it never happened last year. Pumper, you're on a historic losing streak, so you can shit on me all you want, but man, you're on a historic losing streak. Wondering where our bye week. Yeah, Banner. We'll see, bro. We'll see. When do the Eagles play the Johnny Mac? I don't know, but mark it down for a loss. Mark it down. Howie will lose a trade to J Mac. We'll lose the game. He'll have the better defense, better offense. The John McMullen team might never lose a football game. They'll never miss a draft pick. They'll never lose a game. And he will win the GM of the year every year. Zander getting cooked. Pumper, shut up. I don't care if I get cooked. It's football. Yeah, we had one dude in here. Zander's scared of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm like, why? Because I think they're going to be a decent team. The fuck does that mean? Scared. I don't care enough. All right. You guys got me wrong. We talk about sports ball for a living. All right. Sports ball. Let me remind you. This shit has nothing to do with real life problems. All right. I am not scared of shit. Will I care if they lose? Yeah, sure. But I'm not scared. I mean, scared. That's not the right word. They'll have the best PFF grades too. There you go, D. Hughes. That's what I was looking for. Best PFF grades. J-Mac will also win Coach of the Year and Assistant Coach of the Year as well and be in the running for MVP every year. You got to be kidding me. Jerry paid off Zay. Twiz, I needed more. Twiz, if Jerry paid me off, then Jerry's a cheap ass because I didn't get shit. All right? Look at this door. CZ says, Flex, Twiz, Zander looking like an angel. Drugs are kicking in. No drugs here. Dank Bergang says 20-0 until proven otherwise. Repeat season. I see it. I can see it. We'll see. They're going to rename the Lombardi Trophy to the McMullen Trophy. Devin says, fuck the Cowboys. Is Big Z a closet Dallas fan? No, fuck Dallas. I don't care about Dallas. I just don't walk around parading. I hate Dallas with all of my mind. They don't take up that much space. All right. They don't take up that much space in my head, bro. I don't care that much about them. Don't lie. You can't see it, Zan. I can't see what, Crowley. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Crowley? Oh, your comment on Coach. Yeah, I could see that for sure. I could see it. That 5 J-Mac. Yeah, just get 5 McMullens up there. It'd be perfect. That's funny. 20-0. I could see it. Tell Zander I'm in the hospital. What do you mean, CZ? I hope you're all good, brother. Are you healthy? Are you in the hospital or are you? If you are, I'm praying for you, brother. I hope everything goes well. I always pray for my great people here in JAKIB Nation. Whether you want my prayers or not, I give them to you guys. All right, I do pray for everybody. Zander, football need jammers. You're telling me. You know here. Let me give you guys a little bit of inside baseball on Birds 365. All right. Let me give you guys some inside baseball here. There's one big problem with Birds 365 in the offseason. Can anybody guess what it is? The big problem with Birds 365 in the offseason. Can anybody guess what the problem is with Birds in the offseason? Versus the National Football Show, which is double the time, by the way. Double the time. No, not getting guests. Don't care about that. Football games, no, that's not really it. The problem with Birds 365 in the offseason is precisely this. Last giveaways, that's a good one. John doesn't entertain any hypotheticals. And the offseason is the time for hypotheticals. So you want to talk about, anything. John doesn't want to go there. It's not viewership. It's not content. It's none of those things. It's the fact that any hypothetical conversation you could have, John tends to throw water on it, which is fine. That's kind of his approach to football. So I'm not asking to change him. I'm just saying Cilio will come in and say the craziest shit or say, where's Nick Sirianni's contract? I talk about it for 2 hours. You can't do that with John. John doesn't want to talk about anything like that. All right. So, he's boring at this time of the year. It's all good, though. Brian says that Ace Bailey Sixers jersey is going to hit like crack. Boy, you're higher on that. I mean, I like him, but draft him and Bozo hangs it up and George Paul. All right, I agree. Get rid of Bozo. Tell George Paul to get the fuck out of here, and let's see what Ace Bailey can do. I will say, I like Ace Bailey. I mean, John brings up a good point. How do you have the 2 and the 3 pick in the draft and you stink? All right. Ray says John isn't trying to troll the fan base. Ray, there's a little bit. Ray, there's a different take there. That's not true. All right. On the surface, you're correct, but you can entertain hypotheticals without trolling the fan base, Ray. I don't troll the fan base. I entertain hypotheticals all the time. That's true, Rizzy. I appreciate you seeing it like that. That's how I see it too. But I'm just presenting to you guys the challenge with Birds 365 in the offseason. All right. You gotta work extra hard to get topics. Which, by the way, I have a list of so many topics in this book I hold. I got so many topics here, but you say half of them, and John's just like, "Oh, done in 60 seconds." So, all good though. A lot of fun. Nick Sirianni is eating the cats and the dogs. Good one, Emirates. Mexicorn, as you call yourself. Love J Mac. The F-bombs are the best. I was trying to get more F-bombs out of him today. All right, but Sills sure does know how to create a topic. Dankberg again. Let me tell you this. You can love Sills, you can hate Sills. Dan Cilia does a 4-hour show on football all through the year. I have never, ever, once in my life, 5 years now with Cilia, I've never seen him struggle to have something to talk about. Ever. Doing a 4-hour show. Like, you guys might think, 4 hours, that's not that long. I work 8-hour day. Doing a 4-hour talk show is not as easy as Cilia makes it look. I promise you that. It is not as easy as he makes it look. He's the most talented sports talker from that perspective I've ever heard or listened to. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how good Cilio is at creating content, creating talking points, getting people engaged in his show. All right. Sills does a great job. Yes, he does. I'm a big fan of Sills. Very entertaining. He's different, there's different purpose for everybody. I think people, expect the wrong thing out of them. Prince says, talking bullshit works, bro. You can entertain it and react with people that think you're a texter stupid. It's great, but it's fucking retarded, bro. Prince, what do you surmise that gets talked about in May 13th for a business that needs to stay afloat, make money, generate views, generate clicks, keep everybody on the payroll, pay their bills, do all those things? So, I hear you, Prince, but in a perfect world, what you're saying makes sense. That's not the world we live in. All right. Unless you want us to just close up shop for 6 months of the year, which is not a viable option. Brian Pumper says, these dudes say they are not high on Ace Bailey. Dog, we had a bartender out there last season. Who the fuck is Alex Reese? MF for rocking number 65. Oh, shit. Pumper, you're a funny dude. All right? You're a funny dude. Love Big Sills. He puts on masterclasses. Yes, he does. Sills a Hurts hater. Why I can't listen to him. I'm a Johnny Mac guy, but everyone is different. He's not a Hurts hater. Fredo, don't be a buttercup. Fredo's going Call of Duty on me. So Fredo put out on Twitter yesterday, Call of Duty, why did you ban me? I'm allowed to shit talk. I got freedom of speech. Come on, Fredo. Come on, Fredo. Man, that's funny. Xander, you need Sills, James Jones' jammers. I don't know what that means. Sills eats so much crow, it's entertaining. Silly doesn't eat that much crow. Although I will say he had a tough year in 24. He admitted that, though. Cilio is reaching a bit lately on some topics, but he is at least entertaining. Well, you're always reaching. That's part of creating a hypothetical conversation. I was reaching saying the Bears could be good. John was being pragmatic and saying the Bears, who suck every year, are probably going to suck again. I know. I get it. That's the point. You got to go out on a limb at some point. If you don't, we'll have a stale show. All right. Secunda, leave the right wing, left wing bullshit aside for one day, brother. It's all good. All right. The world isn't out to get you. All right. The world is going to be what it's going to be. None of us are big enough or powerful enough to right every wrong in the world. It's all good, Secunda. I love you, brother. We appreciate you here on JAKIB. You're always looking for every problem in the world, though, Secunda. And I respect that you want to solve every world problem, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately. All right. Jaquan. I don't know what that means. I'm going to put you in your place. Come to Dallas. Fuck you, dude. I lived in fucking I lived in Houston for 2 years. I visited Dallas all the time. Jaquan. Fuck you. Fucking Jaquan. What are you, like the fucking Walmart Saquon? Jaquan is the Walmart Saquon. This dude's a dollar store Saquon Barkley, and he's in here yapping in my chat. Come to Dallas, please. Shut up, Walmart Saquon. Come on, man. Friggin' Walmart. You're a Dollar Tree Saquon Barkley. Yo, Zan, would you live stream any games? I'm going to try and do that. The problem is low. Is that we do the post game show, so I'd have to figure out how to do the pre, the half, and the post. But I could probably work it all in. All right, I could probably work it in. Yeah, Timu, that was better. Timu Saquon. Oh, that's funny. Don't come to an Eagles channel and chat and try to solve the world's problems. Come on, little white boy. What do you want me to be sad that I'm white? Is me being proud of who I am, does that make you insecure, Jaquan? Oh, little buttercup. Oh, Jaquan the buttercup. You look ridiculous, my friend. You look ridiculous. All right. Yeah, I always get it. This is like the funniest thing. A white boy. Yeah, I'm proudly white. You got a problem with that? Fuck off. All right? Come on, man. People want me to hate who I am. I don't hate who I am. I'm never going to hate who I am. I don't care who tells me to hate who I am. No, I don't. All right? It's not even making sense. You're scary, bro. You would hold my pocket in real. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what the fuck that means. I feel like Xander yell. I don't yell at the TV that much during the games at all, actually. All right. That 18, that's what I am every day. That's what I try and be. All right. That's what I try and be. 18. I don't know how to be anybody but me, bro. If you guys hated me as a person, you wouldn't watch the show. All right. Because I would only ever be me. I would only ever be me. But Prince says that's jail talk. That's hilarious. Hey, Prince would know. Prince got out the slammer a little bit ago, man. Prince got out the slammer a little bit ago. And Jaquan, you can't shoot people in real life with Call of Duty inventory, bro. That's funny. That is funny. Where'd my boy Secunda go? I wanted to talk to Secunda. Did he not answer me? Where are you, Secunda? I actually like Secunda. Oh. He did answer me. That's what I love about Secunda. He's not afraid, man. He'll rise up and bash back at me. See, the problem with Secunda is he thinks that I'm irrationally one way, which I'm not. I welcome and am open to common sense and good conversation and differing viewpoints. He says, I was talking about the cats and dogs thing. Relax. No one crashing out on y'all conservatives today. Don't get butthurt over nothing. Secunda, not everything is so political, bro. Kirsten, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. All right. I appreciate it, bro. Jaquan coming into Philly. Jaquan, just don't tell anybody you're Saquon, all right? Don't be hiding. I'll tell you this, Jaquan. I am not looking for you. I could care less about an anonymous person with an anonymous picture on my YouTube channel who's been here one day out of the last 5 years. All right, Jaquan, you're not that important, bro. Good night. Good night. Frickin' Jaquan. Can't believe Timu Saquon's got this big of a mouth. All right. This dude's got a big mouth. Everybody in the hood getting that's a song, isn't it? Pretty funny. All right, everybody. Good show today. Good show today. Now we'll have probably Gil and BLG on again tomorrow. I'm working on some guests for Thursday and Friday. If not, we'll have great topics, I'm sure, to kick around. What I am going to force John to do this week is, did you guys see that thing that was on social media of like people ranking the NFC East, and they ranked like each position group in the NFC East? So I want to do that with John. I want to see where he lands on all the different position groups. And that'll be pretty fun. Texas Boy says, I don't hate you. I love Texas Boy. Texas Boy's a good fan. I got no problem with people who don't root for my sports ball team. All right. Later, pussy. Tell your boyfriend I say hi. See you, bro. I'll tell my beautiful girlfriend that Jaquan, the Timu Saquon, made an appearance today. I'll make sure I tell her that you were one of 8,000 chats today. Thank you, bro. You're very important, Jaquan. I'll make sure you know what? I'm actually going to go out and I'm going to profess the name of Jaquan out on the streets. All right, brother? That's how big and important you are. Freaking, you got to be kidding me. These people are delusional. Come on, man. Come on, man. Johnny Mac versus 100 gorillas. Brandon, that's great. Johnny Mac would say, I will trounce those gorillas. All right? There's not one gorilla who will touch me. My football team will trounce the gorillas. All right? Good stuff. J-Mac wins. Agreed. Zitty coming out a bit. Yo, Jitty, don't talk to me like that. All right, Jitty? Don't be saying that, Jitty. Jitty, get out of here, Jitty. I appreciate your super, though, today, Jitty. Freaking Jitty in here. We got Jitty, we got Switty, we got Twitty, we got Flitty. Flexen, you're Flitty. Brandon's Britty. Oh, my gosh. Jammers is Jitty, too. Jitty is Jammers and Jason. You got to be kidding me. All right, everybody. I'm getting out of here. My things are delivered today, so I will be able to ship out the giveaways. Who do I owe? Let me rattle off the names of stuff I. Bird Gang Girl, I got your shirt. All right. I got the packages today, so I'll ship it out today. Brian Fleming, I owe you something. I don't even know what it is. I'll look at your email. Josh B, I owe a jersey. I can't get you that now. I don't have it, but I do have your hat and your T-shirt, Josh B. I owe you. Lucius the Show, I owe you. Kirsten Carter, I owe you. Cody K, I owe you. And Joe Whip, I owe you. So I got a lot of people. You can tell I'm behind. You got seven giveaways. All right. So 7 giveaways must be sent. You can bash me for that. That's my apologies. All right. What time are we on Cilia today, Big Z? I don't think I'm on 3:30. I think he's got Boomer, so he'll probably put me 4:30, depending on who he gets. But if not, 5:15-ish, somewhere in there. But we'll see. I would say 4:30 until I'm told otherwise. Emrayes, you didn't win squiggly squat. And also, Emrayes, you don't need a jersey, bro. You got like 14 Jalen Hurts jerseys, all right? Brandon, you know what? You're right. You won the jersey, and it Customs returned it to me. They said, Brandon Howard's a fake. He's a fake. I'll give you a wrench. All right, Brady's got a wrench. He'll say the Gorillas built their team wrong. Yes. Yes, Fly Eagles. Yes, he will. Britty got a wrench. All right. Mr. Britty is wrenched up. CZ in the hospital. Z, don't mind him. I don't know. What do you mean CZ's in the hospital? I still didn't get that answer. All right. Britty's wrenched up. Everybody wants a wrench, dude. Get in line. Wait till people start losing wrenches. That's when you'll really see the tears flowing. No, my wrench. You took my wrench. Guys, wrenches aren't that cool. I promise you they're not that cool. They're overrated. All right? My wrenches aren't allowed to do shit anyway. We don't block anybody except C. Diddy. C. Diddy's the only guy who gets blocked, who stalks my younger sisters like a weirdo. All right? C. Diddy's the only one who gets blocked out. Big Britty in the house. Yeah, look, Prince has. I didn't even know Prince had a wrench. I love Prince, though. Prince was gone, man, for a month. I'm like, Prince, where'd you go? Would you flake on me? He came back strong now. All right, he came back strong. A-Team had a wrench. He lost his wrench. Ask him how that went. All right. Texas boy. Yeah, Texas boy, you might need a wrench to be protected because, people want to block you out. But I think Cowboys people coming to the chat is a good thing. All right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Devin says green over blue. As long as you're green. The grays are the down bad ones. Look, Texas boy's a gray. Texas boy, you're a gray. But you are appreciated here. I like Texas boy. I like everybody. If you can dodge a wrench, there you go. There you go. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a Zander haymaker. How about that, Ken Bone? All right. Green better anyway. Look at Jason. He's coping. All right. Oh, Dunner's in that. Yo, Dunner. I know, Dunner. Dunner, I've been checking out your Instagram stories because you were right near the Vatican when everything was happening. Let me go see. You got any new stories? No, nothing right now. Donner, I've been following your Donner. You got to make more posts though, bro. You're getting all these good pictures, and you got your latest post is rocking a JAKIB shirt. Look at him. You got the JAKIB shirt on. Fucking sick. I love the JAKIB shirt. I love the JAKIB shirt. My boy Donner checking in from Napoli. I love it, brother. Appreciate it, man. Hope you're enjoying Italy. I was joking. I don't want to travel much, but I will say I do want to go and visit the Vatican. That is somewhere I want to go. All right. That movie ruined the word wrench for me. That's fine, Ken Bone. All right. That's fine, Ken Bone. Donner says, I'll DM you. All right. I'll be looking for it, bro. I'll be looking for it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm working on new merch line, everybody. So I got all new merch coming soon. I got a new website coming soon. So I am working on a lot of stuff when I get off the air right now that it's off season. So I'm trying to put some things together to improve some of the back end stuff. So hopefully we'll have more of that. I'm really trying to get like a newsletter or somewhere that John can write to you guys as well. So I think John's a very good writer, and I think you guys would like hearing from him. So that'd be pretty cool. So I'm working on some of those things. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I think you'll enjoy some of the additions that we'll have to JAKIB. And I'm working on all those things now. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. The things I'm working on are helped much so by the super chats and the things you guys do, the likes, the shares, the comments, the subscribes, the memberships. So thank you all. I appreciate it. Brandon, this is throwing me off, bro. You're blue now. You're blue. I'm not used to this, Brady. All right. B. Hitty. With a name like C. Diddy, he should be blocked. Yeah, I agree. Texas boy. Wait. Let's come up with a name for Texas boy to be Diddy. Is it Titty? Texas boy is Titty. Wait, Texas boy wins the Diddy argument because his is actually a good name. Bro is Titty. Texas boy is Titty. You got to be kidding me, Texas boy. Holy crap. That's a W for you. All right. Dang Bird Gang is actually just Diddy. DB Jitty. Or Biddy. There you go. Biddy's good. If you go by Dank, you're Diddy. You're just Diddy. Titty boy. Titty boy. You guys have my permission, my express permission to call Texas boy Titty boy now. Texas boy, I'm sorry, man. You brought it on yourself, though. All right? You brought it on yourself, bro. All he was doing was agreeing with me on C. Diddy, and he ends up being Titty boy now. Unfortunately. Oh, man. Texas boy, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out JAKIB, for watching our content. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you all have fun. Hope you all have a great day. We'll be live again 2 to 6. Any updates from the Eagles, I will share up on my social media on Twitter. So go and follow me over there. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. That's going to do it for today's episode of Birds 365. Thank you all. Abe, good to see you, Abe. Hope you're doing well, brother. Flexing, appreciate you, Bird Gang girl. B. Howe, congrats, bro. Jason, A-Team, appreciate you, brother. Texas Boy, Dang Bird Gang, Cody K, Rich Nut, Jack Straw. Appreciate all you guys, man. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.